All right. Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to start by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua. Call Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rekah, Kodash. Double honors, Apostle, Elders, Great Millstone, Ruler, Teach Well, peace, salutation to all you Akim in the four corners of the earth. Hey, I'm Yaquan from Wild Soul, Yahushua, Sanctified Ones, coming to you with a, coming to you with a video. All right. Hey, look, because we in the time of war, right? And this is a lot of videos. I know a lot of dudes do different type of videos, but this is seemed to be the primary video that need to be had right here, right now, because this is the time that we are in, right? We are in the time that we're in. We're in the time of war, right? So this is the war season, war time. Everything you see on TV, everywhere you go, it's all about war. It's Russia, Ukraine. It's we talk about it day in and day out, camp in and camp out. You got Russia, you got Ukraine, you got the Israelis, the Houthis, you got Hezbollah, Hamas, Gaza. You got all this. You got all these factions. You got factions of Africa dealing with the French, dealing with Russia. Russia went in into they call it Niger, but it's actually nigger. It's spelled Niger. When you go down and you find the proper spelling of nigger, the proper spell of nigger is Niger. Okay, Esau just added an extra G to throw it off, but because the land was nigger land, right? Which nigger means black. Okay, but people don't understand what it actually means, the meaning of words. That's why you have to be able to go into the meaning of words, get into the word so you can understand the meaning. So Russia went down into Niger, right, to go and help Niger dispel the French and Americans. So the France is saying, well, they about to go back up in. They about to send more troops. They about to send more troops back into Niger, where Niger put them out. Russia's there. Russia's pushing America out. Now France saying, fuck that. We about to go back in there. So this is wars all over, right? All over the land, there's wars. There's rumors of wars. Russia just had a big fight. Matter of fact, they just had a big fight with France, with NATO, right? And Germany. Russia killed, I think it was about 10 NATO soldiers between the French and the Germans. So this shit is hot. NATO is actually at war with Russia, right? This is it. This is that time. This is the time of war, right? We're in that time. And in the scriptures, they talk about there's a time and place for everything, right? So I'm going to read this scripture, then I'm going to play a video, right? Hopefully I'll get it in on because my setup a little different now. But hopefully I'll get it in. I can show the video, a little bit of the video, and then we'll go from there. But right here, let me read this scripture, though. This is Ecclesiastes, okay, chapter 3. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1. To everything, there is a season. And that's it. To everything, there is a season. Like when you go through the climate, right? The year, you have your spring, your summer, right? You got your fall, and you have your winter. So there's 4 seasons in the year. So in any of these times, things change. You have certain climates that happen during those certain times. During the time of winter, if you're in the north, you get a lot of snow, right? Summer is hella hot. Certain seasons, rainy, spring, and all these different things. So your fall, leaves falling off, everything is dying. Going into the winter. Winter represents death, right? It means everything is already dead. Spring is life, to bring life back, right? Life is to be brought back. Is in the springtime. Life rejuvenates, renews, to renew, right? Okay. So to everything, there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. And we're under heaven right now. So there's a purpose for all these things. There's a purpose for everything going on. There's a purpose to be in a time of war, right? A time to be born, a time to die, right? And wartime is a time of death, right? And they were showing how many Yo, they were showing the graves of the Iranians, right? They showed the mass graves. Salakia, how that cut off, fucking devil. All right, but Salakia. But yeah, they showed the mass graves of Iran. And
people who do the right thing,
you know,
they have a strong moral compass that guides them to do good.
Rolling over the border, just a couple.
Salakia. But yeah, they were showing the grave sites of Iran. Damn, like the amount of, they said that Russia has been killing. See, they don't want to talk about this in your everyday news, but they saying that Russia has been killing 500 to 800 Iranian soldiers since the war has begun daily, and they've been at war for the last almost 3 years. Daily, you do the math. 500 to 800 men per day. And so there's days it was thousands of men being put to death, murdered. And they've been having a war for 3 years. So now you do the math and you tell me how many dead bodies that is. So like the scripture say, there's a time to die. So we're in the time of death, right? A time to plant, we're not planting. A time to pluck up that which is planted. And when is a time to plant is in springtime when new life is being given. We're in the darkness. We're in the winter. This is the time of death. Everything is dying. See, we're in the time, we're physically, we're here in the time of spring. Everything was brought back new. But in the way the world is running, this world is in the time of death. Everything is dying. People are dying at a high rate, right? You got wars and rumors of wars, Matthew 24. I'm going to go there. You know, you got all these things that's coinciding now today that we're still in winter. This is still the winter time. You understand? See, so we're in a spiritual season of winter, right? Carnal season of spring. But spiritually, man, we in the winter, right? Because everything dies in the winter. You're in the fall going into winter. Okay, because really winter, everything is already dead and going off the tree. Fall, everything is dying. The trees is dying off. So we rolling it. So we in between fall and winter pretty much through the spirit, right? If you can understand. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. We're not healing. There's nothing being healed now. Everything now is about death, about war, hate, anger. Everything is about just destruction, just straight destruction. Straight destruction. Everything is destruction upon the earth right now. Right? A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down, which that's everything is being broken down. A time to build up. A time to weep. We're in a time of weeping. And a time to laugh. We're not laughing. A time to mourn. We're mourning. And a time to dance. Well, Jake, only people dancing now is Jake. You know, the world, you know, the people who are blinded, they're in the time of, they're in summer mode, right? The women getting ready to go hit the clubs. They're about to hit the beach, hit out here in Florida, Miami, Florida. They about to go, you know, overseas, and they about to, you know, everybody's in Jubilee. But when you, high 20 site, when you look back, you got China getting ready to deal with Taiwan and the Philippines. You got North Korea getting ready to go into South Korea and deal with America. You got wars upon wars on the earth. You got people who are ready to go to straight fucking war, man. You know, and that's already in war. Once again, I'm going to say it again. Russia and NATO is at war. They're actually at war. Russia actually has killed NATO soldiers. 10, I think it was around about 20 soldiers altogether, but it was something like that. A few was German and a few were French. That's war. The minute that they fight and kill French or the French kill, that's war with NATO. That's automatic war with NATO. They put the F-16s. That's war. That's World War III. The F-16s was put into, and World War III is see, and this is another thing. World War III isn't. It's not one big thing. This shit is a bunch of different places. World War III is starting. It started in Ukraine, and that was the start of World War III. They started it. It's popping. That war is gonna be popping. China gonna be popping with Taiwan and probably the Philippines. That shit gonna be popping. Japan probably gonna help and help try to fight China. America's gonna be fighting with China. America's fighting with the Iranians, which is NATO and Russia. America gonna be fighting with the Israelis against the Houthis, Hezbollah, and the other Middle East countries, Iran, and all their proxies. So that's war, man, right? World War III consists of a lot of small, right? It consists of a lot of small, well, I wouldn't say so much small, but it starts off in certain areas, and it's going to culminate and build into one big ass ball of fuckery, right? It's going to be one huge war because they all going to get called up to the Valley of Jehoshaphat, which is where? Over in the Jordan, over in Israel. So we know where it's going to get called up at. So, you know, all this going to come to a head. But we're in the time of war. We're in the time of kill, mourning, right? Back verse 5. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. Ain't no love. Ain't no love. Ain't nobody embracing. Ain't nobody showing no love. Ain't no what love? Where's the love? Ain't nobody. We ain't in the time of giving love. You know what I mean? The time of giving love is over, right? A time to get because 2nd Ezra 15 chapter gonna be hitting. 2nd Ezra 16 chapter. Hey, this shit gonna get hot. America gonna have a civil war. It's gonna be civil war here in America. So ain't nobody gonna have no time to sit up and to be all giving a bunch of love, hugged up and looking out for one another. Ain't nobody about to be looking out for one another. Cause this time people gonna be trying to get what they can get, man. They gonna be trying to rob and steal from their neighbors. Because they gonna have to survive. Right? Look at the prices of food, look at the prices of gas. Look at all this shit is going crazy. They said something about with the BRICS nation, America got 7 days until it starts seeing the hyperinflation because of the BRICS currency. Because of the BRICS currency, American currency has 7 days, and it's supposed to be like a big ass spike, right, of inflation, because it's supposed to the dollar is supposed to be collapsing because of the fact that the BRICS nation is coming to effect. It's going to be traded on the open market in 7 days. So a lot of people going to stop trading in the dollar, and they're going to start going over and trading in the gold under the BRICS currency. And the BRICS currency, they got, I think it's like over 40 nations, 50 something nations now that actually is dealing under their currency. And France is such a snake. France has been trying to get into their currency. So this thing has got many heads, multiple heads. There's multiple things going on at once. And the people of America, you're asleep because you don't know really what's going on. You only know what the Channel 4, 7, 4, and 2. You only know what Fox tell you, NBC, ABC, PBS. You don't know the real shit. You only gonna know what they want you to know. And then when they do tell it, it's gonna be, you gonna hear that it's a public broadcast. And then that's when you will know something about to happen. You have 30 minutes before the missiles strike. Then you have chaos. And then you understand when people are going through and robbing and stealing and killing from you, and all chaos and all hell breaks loose. You know what I mean? However it works. But the point is, you're going to know it's going to be too late. By the time you figure it out over here in America, man, hell, the fucking shit going to already be what it is. Right? Now is the time to know. You know, really 10, 15 years ago was the time to fight against it. That time is done. You know, it just is what it's going to be. You know? All right. And look at let's not forget about all the colleges. Let's not forget about all the colleges over in America. They fighting against the Israelis going up into Rafah, fucking Gaza, and now they already started going up into Rafah. So they went up in the Israelis is in Rafah, taking over Rafah, killing, dropping bombs. There's all kind of videos of that. Now you can catch that on X, Twitter X. Hey, so this shit is the hit the fan. They weren't even supposed to go in there. They tried to do a ceasefire. The Israelis said, hell no, we coming into Rafah. They said, don't go into Rafah. They said, we going into Rafah. So America is put into this war that is just going to escalate and escalate. Iran is going to escalate the war with the Israelis because the Israelis doing what the fuck they want. They murdering and slaughtering. They're doing a complete genocide of the people. And then now they got the bill that you can't say certain things against Amalek. And so it's like, look, fuck, man, everything's anti-Semitic. right? When we're the most Shemitic people on earth is the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans. We're Shemitic people. Esau, Edom, you're Shemitic. You come out of the same father we come out of. You was just wicked as fuck. You know? So, so at the end of the day, we're Shemitic. See, the word is not, they say Semitic, but it's actually Shem. The word comes from Shem, right? It comes from the son of Noah. Okay? The Shemitic people, which is us, which Israel come out of the Shemitic line. Okay? Which Esau is actually Shemitic as well. Okay, and that's nothing because who was his father? His father went back to Isaac. Okay. So Jacob and Esau, right? Okay, so they was brothers, so that makes them Shemitic. Okay. Are they Hebrew? Yeah, they're Hebrew Edomites. Esau, Edom. We Hebrew Israelites. Okay. Now, enough of that. But let me get back to the scriptures. A time to get and a time to lose. A time to get and a time to lose. And this is time for Americans has been getting forever. Right? Babylon has been having forever. So it's a time for this place to lose. It's a time for this place to go down. Right? A time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silent and a time to speak. So we speaking now, but the time is we're coming into that time. We went over that camp, Amos, the 9th chapter, right? There's gonna be the famine of the word, and the famine of the word is coming in with this making this rule, trying to get rid of the Bible because they're trying to say there's parts of the Bible that's anti-Semitic. They anti-Semitic speech, no more freedom of speech. So they're gonna shut us up, right? So a time to love and a time to hate. And this is the time of hate. A time for war. A time of war and a time of peace. So it's no time of peace. We're in a time of, this is wartime. And wartime lasts 10, 15 years, 5, however long this is going to last, 3, 4 years, 2 years, 1 year. However long this is going to last, it could, however long that it take us to get up to the Valley of Jehoshaphat, with the chaos ensuing here in America, we're a few years off, a year off, 2 years off. It's here. This is a year. We just got into this year and we're already in June. June is right around the corner, a couple weeks out. We just got into this month and we're a few fucking weeks from June already. So June is already almost here. By the time we look up, we're going to be in November. Then they'll say you got to look out for some shit about to happen out in November. It's about to be something going to happen. So all this shit everything is coming into play. They supposed to blow up the Ukrainians supposed to blow up the Kurdish bridge. They supposed to blow up the Crimean bridge. Matter of fact, and then Russia fucked NATO up another time. Ukraine sent in some unmanned drones, some boats that was unmanned drone boats. They fucked them up like I think it was about 6 of those. Salaki. They caught them, fucked them up, and NATO and France got caught a couple times trying to go up. I forget where it was at, but something with Russia. So they've been having this. They've been hitting back and forth with France, and nobody's been knowing it, but it's been coming out. So France done already lost a lot of troops dealing in this fight, right? A lot of the troops would leave the military and they would turn themselves into mercenaries so they could fight for Ukraine. But Ukraine has once again 500 to 800. They have lost 500 to 800 men a day for the last few years of this war. You do the math and fuck, that number is astounding. Okay. And that's just on a smaller level, because on what's really not reported, how many dead bodies has not been found? How many, so you can just imagine the carnage that has been in Ukraine is going on down to this day. And they're actually still fighting. They're fighting with France right now. They caught them. Russia is fighting with NATO in what is it? It's a Chahar or Chesayar, somewhere like that. They fighting France. They fighting now, right? In Ukraine. So this is NATO and Russia is at war, right? So we're in the end days. We're at the end time. Okay, so we're in a time of war. So this is why I wanted to bring this out, because we are in a time of war. So during this time, there's no love, there's no peace, right? The people gonna go crazy. Things are going to get scarce. The The economic system is going to start to collapse. We're going to feel it even more than what we feel it now, because you already feel it now. You go to the grocery store and you for a loaf of bread it's like $4. $4, $3.50, $3.80. You go, carton of milk is almost like $5. Like it's, eggs is an astounding about $3. It's the shit don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? You go gas station, you paying $3.40 for gas now, and it's going up. You go get a chicken meal or something, and that's $12, $14, right? Where these meals should be $3.99, $5.99 back in the day, even cheaper than that back in the early 80s and 90s, early 90s and 80s. So, now here you even in the 2000s, it was way cheaper, early 2000s, right? But now here in the latter time, when the end time is here, when you're in the stages of the end time, and you're in the beginning, the throes, the beginning of the end times, you're right in the beginning of it, it's really starting to hit, right? Life is feeling harder. Everything is costing more. Mortgages is going up. Everything is it's harder. It's just harder to live, right? Everything costs more, right? That means that because like I always talk about it, when you go back to Rome, not the whole Rome didn't fall, but it was Western Rome fell, which was Esau controlled, and Jake was in Eastern Rome. And when Western Rome fell, they was doing what? They was cutting their money. They was taking a denarius, which was all gold, a big gold coin, and they started shaving that coin to make it smaller and smaller, and they would mix it in with different metals to make more of it, and it cheapened the currency. That's what America is today. It's not back now today. Hell, they ain't even backed by shit. They ain't even backed by gold. It's just, it's just thin air. It's just paper that they're printing off paper, and they're calling it currency. And it has no natural backing, right? It's not backed by any mineral, any substance of natural wealth, right? Like gold, diamonds. It's not backed by anything, There's no backing to it. It's just that, and there's no value. It has no value, right? The real value is gold. It's real value, right? Silver, precious metals. It's not backed by any precious metal, right? But right here, this that's what time we in. I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna just read this. Well, no, matter of fact, let me play this. I'm gonna play this quick video, and then I'm gonna let me play this video right quick. Slocky for the headshot. All right, but yeah, let me play this quick video right here. Okay. Red alert: Russia tactical nukes near Ukraine. Right, so this is the time we in. I'm gonna just play a little bit of it. For copyright premises, hopefully I don't get a
breaking news. This is a code red emergency alert. Code red emergency alert. Now you would think that I was going to be talking today about the Rafah invasion that has now officially kicked off.
There you go.
With Israeli tanks rolling over the border.
The Rafah invasion. The Israelis went into, not Israel, but the Israelis, right? The fake Jews, they went over there into Rafah like they weren't supposed to. They done kicked it off. That happened yesterday. They went in and they're looting, robbing, stealing, and killing.
Just a couple hours ago, which is going to thrust the Middle East into a perpetual state of conflict and crisis, the likes of which we've never seen before, but you'd be mistaken. What I need to talk about today is the Russian placement of tactical nuclear weapons in the south of their country near Rostov-on-Don, very proximate to the Ukrainian border. Vladimir Putin has commissioned this in response to direct threats by Western officials that they're going to continue to up the ante and commit to more troop deployments inside Ukraine in the future, in addition to some intelligence that was leaked by both Russia and Belarus that signals that the Ukrainians are getting ready to launch a very large salvo of UK-made Storm Shadow as well as American-made ATACMS and Ukrainian drones against strategic targets inside Russia in the next 24 hours. And that's not all. Russia has also threatened to target UK directly. This is not your typical threats uttered by the Russian late-night TV punditry. nor is it the maniacal Monday rantings of Medvedev. This is a direct threat by the Russian government that not only are they going to target decision-making centers inside Ukraine, but they're also going to directly target military bases in the UK if Ukraine proceeds and, perhaps more importantly, is successful in its attacks against what I presume is going to be something inside Crimea. But for all we know, they could actually try to attack the Russian mainland.
All right, slack you for that.
Now, if they do that, utilizing Western weapon systems, they are going to go ahead with these tactical nuclear drills, as they're calling them, and we are going to be very aptly and appropriately up another rung of the escalation ladder. And that's going to be it, because the Russians have sub-kiloton and kiloton level nuclear weapon systems that can be deployed even in artillery shells that they could potentially use in a battle against NATO troops in an attempt to interdict the mission creep of NATO inside Ukraine. They've also doubled down on their threat to not only take out the F-16s, because of course they deem them to be primarily nuclear weapons platforms, but also the airports from which they've emerged. Now recall that in recent days, I've been saying that the Ukrainians are talking about deploying these F-16s from bunker systems. I'm sure if those things existed, the Russians would likely know. If that is all a ruse, and in fact these things don't exist, that means they can only come from one place, and that is from the surrounding countries. All of the aforementioned has happened incredibly fast, okay? Remember, over the weekend, I was talking about a strategic reprieve and an odd radio silence and an odd, seemingly unofficial détente of sorts that had occurred between, at least in the Middle East, definitely in Ukraine and Russia, with the exception, of course, of some ongoing tactical operations. There was little happening over the weekend. And typically, when you see not a lot happening in climates such as this, that means that big storms are brewing. And this was it. If nothing else, I want people to understand and take away from this channel that if and when the lights go out, you will be on your own. Let that be the motivating factor that guides you in your preparedness endeavors. My goal with this channel is to really drive that point home. And I'm the devil's advocate for this, probably much more than many other prepping channels. I'm always trying to sympathize, maybe not sympathize, but I'm always trying to be more optimistic about the government's capabilities to come to your attention and aid in times of crisis. But I can assure you unequivocally that they have no plan, and that when the lights go out, these transmissions will cease. Communication between you and everybody else that you've grown technologically dependent on communicating with will cease, okay? And it's just going to be you, me, and everybody else where they're at with what they have, and that's going to be the end of it. So
that's what? That's the family of the word. See, they know. See, these guys is prepared. These guys are preparing for what? For war. They preparing for the end of the world. They preparing for all hell to break loose, the lights to go out, and never to come back on. Like he said, because once the lights go out, that's it. Now it's just going to be you and whatever else and whoever else you're with. Ain't no more coming on looking for the man of the Lord. Ain't no more getting on trying to get back right. Ain't no more getting on trying to find a husband, a man of the Lord. Your ass is on your own. Now you're stuck. Now you got to pray to Yahweh Shem HaShai, walk you through it. Because if not, that's it. That's your ass, Mr. Postman. That's your ass. But that's it. But it's over. You know, so we're in a time where everybody need to prepare and prep. And how do we prepare and prep as men of the Lord? We prepare and prep through the spirit of Yahweh Shem HaShai, with the faith to know that the Lord going to see us through all things. Psalms 91. Okay, you got to have faith, right? You got to have the faith of King David to get through. See? All right, I'm going to play a little more of this, and then I'm going to close it out.
This is what's going down today, above and beyond the synopsis of events. Russia is about to commit to tactical nuclear drills. Now, they haven't done this yet. They've threatened to do this, which of course will be the final red line. If they're doing tactical nuclear drills, we must presume that tactical nuclear weapons are going to be involved. Now, why is this problematic? Because, of course, these tactical nuclear weapon systems deployed in Rostov-on-Don are going to be within striking distance of ATACMS and Storm Shadows. Now, I'm not saying that the Ukrainians are going to target those, although there's plenty of evidence to suggest that whether it be against Russian nuclear power plants, elements of the Russian nuclear strategic triad, or the manufacturing facilities where nuclear weapons are actually created, that Ukrainians have already targeted those. So I would not put it past them to try to target these tactical nuclear weapon systems in order to begin a response big enough that would force Europe and the United States to make good on their promises of coming to the aid of Ukrainians. I believe it was the minority leader of the House.
Why I switched this
Man,
and
this
never go
bullshit.
back. I've been dying my grace for a few years now. For a while.
Today, who said that should Russia gain the upper hand and it starts to look like they're actually going to overthrow the Kiev government, because of course they don't recognize Zelensky as the legitimate leader anymore. In their minds, his tenure as the president has now expired because, of course, he imposed martial law and postponed elections. So in their mind, he is now on the wanted list. But the Western governments are saying, and this is not only the United States, this is numerous other governments, including Emmanuel Macron, has said that should Russia gain the upper hand, they will send troops in to confront the Russians directly. So this is the final rung of the escalation ladder for the use of low-yield tactical nuclear weapons in the theater of the Ukrainian conflict. Long ago, I suspected that we may well see the normalization of low-yield tactical nuclear weapons in war. The question becomes, is how do you get from the use of tactical nuclear weapons on the battlefield to the point of them being strategic nuclear weapons? So we're seeing that the Russians and Vladimir Putin, this is not your run-of-the-mill strategic exercise with the ICBMs and the SARMATs. This is impromptu. This is the Russians saying we are going to do this drill in direct response to NATO's threats to deploy, and not just threats, but make good on their threats as they have been, to deploy troops. Apparently, some members of the French military, as we've been talking about for the last few months, are already there. When you're like me, when you're this ahead of the news cycle, I mean, this is all really boring to me, to be brutally honest, because we've been talking about this for 5 months, and now it's all culminating. And now there is new information coming out that suggests that not only are the Steadfast Defender troops who are currently partaking in the exercises that are supposed to conclude at the end of May, not only are they going to stay there, but there's actually going to be more troop deployments into that region. So everything is happening really, really fast on the Russian-Ukrainian front right now. The Russian armed forces will conduct exercises on the preparation and use of non-strategic nuclear weapons. Very important, non-strategic. Because, of course, before the use of strategic weapons, you're going to use tactical nuclear weapons. And these can be deployed in a variety of ways. And it's no surprise that all of this just coincides, okay? This is all happening around the exact same time as the F-16s are about to be delivered that the Russians have deemed nuclear delivery platforms. This is something that could shake up the global markets and the global state of affairs unlike anything that we've ever before seen. It's also not surprising that Xi Jinping is currently doing his tour of Europe. So why did all of this happen at the same time? Did Xi Jinping go to Europe knowing that Europe was planning something in an attempt to forestall whatever was planned from happening? He apparently is not too satisfied with the results of his meetings already with Ursula von der Leyen, who is chastising the Chinese leader for his country's level of industriousness that apparently the UK cannot compete with. The Europe, I should say, is upset with the Chinese because the Chinese industrial capacity is simply too vast and sophisticated, and Europe cannot compete, and thus they are upset with the Chinese, and they feel that the Chinese need to slow down their economy just a little bit so everybody can catch up. They've also allegedly got commitments, according to Emmanuel Macron, that China will not supply weapons to Russia. Well, the issue was never, and this is just a totally moot point, because the issue was never that the Chinese were going to provide Russians with weapons. The Russians don't need China for weapons. What the Russians might need from the Chinese, potentially some, and I say some, raw materials, some component pieces, some labor even perhaps, to help them in their war machine. But they don't need the actual weapons themselves. Do they need some financial support in other ways? It's possible. Do they need to trade with the Chinese? Absolutely. But the Chinese need the Russians' oil and gas, arguably far more than the Russians need them. So this is the situation as it is shaping up today.
Not just supplies.
All right, I'm going to play a little more, then I'm going to cut it off.
Not just a product, but solutions for productivity.
And this is very concerning to know that tactical nuclear weapons are now going to be that close to Ukraine because, of course, Ukraine will be incentivized to target these tactical nukes. I think that they're going to go for the Kerch Bridge. I think that's what the intelligence leak about a pending attack in the next 24 hours is pertinent to. But we're going to find out very, very quickly. And I'm interested to know why it is that Netanyahu made the decision to go into Rafah today. Now, another thing that I've observed here with this Rafah invasion is that you'll notice that right before the invasion happened, there were very optimistic people who thought that a negotiation was successful and that a deal had been reached. I mean, we're talking about minutes before the invasion happened. Apparently, Hamas had said they agreed upon a deal, and this was circulating throughout social media that Hamas had agreed to a deal, and that the leader, and then it later turned out that, well, this was a deal that Israel rejected a while ago, so they did agree to a deal, but it wasn't one that Israel accepted. And we see this often in that right before bad things are going to happen, we get this seeming détente of hostilities. I call it the strategic reprieve, right? This kind of period of radio silence that always precedes the big arrow attacks and offensive, because that's when you're getting everything ready. That's when things are gonna be eerily silent, almost as if, negotiations might be peaceful. We've seen this before the Russian invasion of Ukraine, when Russia said they were turning the tanks around and don't worry because, we're going to strike a deal and nothing is going to happen. Now, it makes me think that this move, this deterrent move, and that's what this is, to deploy tactical nukes near the border in Ukraine, is just that. We may actually see the inversion of this, like we've seen after Iran launched those 300 missiles, and we had the anticlimactic response from the Israelis thereafter, which, the jury is still out on exactly what that is. Was it tactical nukes and F-35s, if you listen to Pepe Escobar, or was it just that they took out the radar systems? Who knows? I'm sure it was somewhere in between. But we often see this happen where what we think are going to be the big launching points for the flashbulb of events never are. And it's always when they start talking about peace, that's the launching point. So, I've always kind of known this.
Hey, what the scripture say? When they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction shall come upon them. And that's the scripture, man. So hey, look, I just want to play that. And hey, look, I'm Yaquan from Wise Soul, Yahushua Sanctified Ones. Hey, we in a time of war. Prepare yourself, and the best preparation that we can do as Israelites, the best way for us to prepare is to get in the scriptures, study to show thyself approved, get on the highways and byways, get your videos in, do the work, do the work, because that's the best, that's the greatest chance that we have of salvation, to be saved out of these crazy times, is put our faith and trust in the Lord and do the work and keep pushing. So, hey, I'm Yaquan from Wild Soul House, Sanctified Ones. And with that said, I want to say Shalom and the Bible Ball.